Hello everyone, my name is John, and in this video I'm going to talk about hotshotting. I know a lot of people is wanting to get into hotshotting. I've done that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, what you can expect, what's the potential, and the things you need to do to protect yourself and your business. Let's talk about it. Now, first things first, I want to tell you a little bit about me, how I got into hotshotting or the trucking industry. And the reason I say hotshotting because when people go into trucking, a lot of times that's where they start. They start out as hotshot drivers and they grow their business from there. I know that's what I did. So I started my trucking company back in 2014 and started with, I come out of the oil field. I was in the oil field. I was talking to my brother-in-law at an event. He just had a little get-together at his house, and we were talking about the truck hotshot drivers. And he had mentioned, I was like, man, we had these guys coming out there, and I know we probably had 7 deliveries that day because we were having issues down hole on that drilling rig. And I said, I know they're probably making $100 a pop. And he's like, no. He says they're making 250 minimum. Got me curious, so I went back to the rig the next work day, and I asked the company man, Ray David, and I said, "Hey Ray," I said, "How much those hotshot drivers come out here? How much are they making?" And he said, "I think they're making about $600." And he said, "But I'm not sure." He says, "I asked the other company man, his lifelong friend, which is another company man, owned that same rig." Ernest. So I went to Ernest and I asked him, I said, Ernest, how much are those hotshot drivers making? I said, Ray David had told me they make about $600. And he said, well, yeah, he said, that's just about right. He said that the truck drivers are making $600. The company is making $800. The drivers have their own truck and trailer. They're making $600. So they're making 75%. The company is making 25%. So on my next off day, I bought a truck and trailer and leased on with the company, leased on with them. I stayed with them for about 2 months. In that 2-month period, I got my own running authority, insurance, and all those things, and I started hotshot. Now, the thing is, when I started, I went in not knowing anything. I had no idea whatsoever. And it's just by the grace of God that I survived. This was in 2014. Well, in January of 2014, we had a serious ice storm, for those of you who remember. And I was the only trucking company that was running. All the trucking companies were shut down. So I was getting phone calls like crazy. In like a 2 or 3 week span, I did $10,000 net. And some of those companies, I was just driving the drivers to the rig location because they couldn't run their company trucks. So that got me by. Then I started, and that was local here in Odessa. I went over the road, started doing over the road, and then I came across factoring. And I'm going to be talking a lot on this channel about factoring because that is going to be the lifeblood for many trucking companies getting started. But I grew my company from there. Over the road, I ended up finding out about factoring because I had no idea what it was, no idea how I was going to get my money because factoring, for companies that you do loads for, they have up to 90 days to pay you. With factoring, they buy those invoices and they wait that 90 days, and I'm going to talk about that, why that's so important for you, especially if you're just getting into the trucking business. But I started there, so I grew my truck, and actually I ran into a guy up in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and I'll probably have him on, still a friend of mine, and he wanted me to drive him to his truck. He couldn't get under the bridge. He had a load that was too high, and we got to talking. He didn't really like the company that he was working for. He's like, man, you seem like a good guy. You know a lot about the trucking. Why don't I just lease on with you? That became my first lease on driver. We exchanged contact information, and he ended up leasing on with me. I grew my trucking company from there. I ended up with over 10 trucks. I've done Hotshot. I have 2 semis, 3 flatbeds, so like 7 goosenecks, and RGN. So I've done that. A yard with 2 acres, the whole gambit. So I've done that. I have a lot of knowledge about running a trucking company, how to grow, how to expand your business, the things you need to look out for. But I don't know everything. I'm not coming to you as Zeus, the hotshot God, and I just know everything. No, that's not what I'm telling you. What I can do is tell you about my experiences, the thing that I've done, and the thing that helped me to survive as a trucking company. I started my company in 2014. 2015, I won an award for the fastest growing company for an organization that I was involved with. The thing is, as a trucker, and this is kind of one of the most important things, is one, your equipment. I get a lot of questions about what type of equipment to get. I've had Ford, I've had Dodges personally, and I've had drivers with GMCs. Here's what I can tell you. When you're talking about getting a truck, first F-350, the 250, it just wears them down too fast. It'll wear, even if it's a new truck, when you're pulling that kind of weight, and you, especially if you're, now local, that's different, but over the road, you're pulling a lot of weight. I've pulled up to 20,000 pounds, more than 20,000 pounds on my Hotshot truck in Utah, uphill through the mountains, where that truck wouldn't run no more than 100, 150 yards to the next place that I could pull off to let the truck rest. It was literally that heavy and that steep of a mountain. And that was a Dodge. I've had Ford. If I had to do it, I would do it with a over the road with a Dodge because it gets better fuel mileage. With the Ford, it has more power, and I know for a lot of my friends, I have friends up north, that they're diehard Fords. You can't go up north and find nobody with a Dodge. They just don't do Dodges up there. But for an entrepreneur, if I had to do it again, I'd get a Dodge because it gets better fuel mileage. It has the power, and it'll get you the fuel mileage. Ford, it'll have more power than a Dodge, but you're not going to like it when you pull into a Pilot to get fuel. So that's one thing. And the next thing is your trailer. What type of equipment? I get a lot of questions about that. You have 2 types of trailers. You have a electric trailer and you have electric over hydraulic. Electric, basically, you have magnets inside your hubs, and those, when you compress your brakes inside the truck, it's connected to your trailer through a pigtail, your electronics basically, and it'll engage, those magnets will engage your brakes, and that'll stop the trailer. With electric over hydraulic, when you compress your brakes inside of your truck, it goes to a pump that pumps fluid, just like a vehicle that has, and for you that are old enough, you remember how when you bled your brakes, you had to bleed your brakes because it had brake fluid in it. Well, with electric over hydraulic, it's the same thing. It's got fluid inside the lines with a caliper, and when you engage your brakes in your truck, it connects to that pump, and that pump actually pumps the fluid through the lines and engages your brake that way. Electric over hydraulic is just a better system. The magnets are just not as reliable, or not as accurate, I should say, as electric over hydraulics. Another thing with them, for me personally, because they'll engage some of those, especially if those magnets, they'll fall off. You'll have one tire, they don't engage evenly. With electric over hydraulic, they engage more even than the electric brakes. So that's a disadvantage if you have electric brakes, because you'll have one side of one axle wear out faster because it's not engaging like the rest of your brakes. So that's another thing. The next thing is to protect your business. If you're going into this business, you have to protect your business. And what I mean by that is, for me, when I was going back and forth from Odessa to Houston, and I was living in Houston, Acres Home actually, And coming to Odessa before I got in the oil field, and even after that, I would be doing 90 mile an hour out on Interstate 10 in my personal vehicle. And I was working in the oil field. It didn't matter. I was getting tickets. I get tickets. But once I got my CDL and I was going to go into the trucking, that changed. Because now I had to protect my CDL, because my CDL was how I stayed in the business. So it took a shift in the mindset for me when I got into the hotshot industry. And for some of you, you're going to have that same mindset shift. You have to protect your business. I've seen guys running renegade. They'll run loads that they're not supposed to be running, overweight loads, oversized loads, not getting permits and things like that. And you just can't do that, because this is your livelihood. If you've invested all of this money into this equipment and you're making money doing it, you have to protect that. So you have to watch the loads that you run, and you can't be speeding. You can't run illegal loads. You can't run scales and the things of that nature. Because it's just going to have a mark against every time you get caught, you get hit against your license and your company, your MC and your DOT numbers, and you don't want to do that. So protect your business and also protect yourself. You have to set your truck up, and we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to tell you about all of that on this channel in upcoming videos, how to set your truck up, because if you really think about it, if you're hotshotting, you're living in that truck. So you have to set it up to where you're going to be as comfortable as possible when you're out on the road. So that's about it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk more about just the things that you need to do to get set up. We're going to go through the whole gambit. Everything you'll need to get set up for your business, all the equipment, all the paperwork, everything. And then I can start answering questions, because I know a lot of people are probably going to have questions, and we'll start answering those questions from there. So until then, I'll see you in the next video.